Hello folks, recording this from the Santa Clara Convention Center as the day wraps around for a two-day conference on IoT, blockchain, AI, and cybersecurity. I happen to have the privilege of presenting yesterday on the topic of the collision course of big data, AI, ethics, regulation, and privacy, and what it means to consumers and businesses. The session went off well, but that's not the point. I wanted to really leave you guys with the key takeaways that I got out of it based on the Q&A session from the audience. So really there were two takeaways that I came up with. One is, what actionable things can consumers do? Because it's not just enough to just shock and awe with, hey, look at how your data is being extracted from you and weaponized, etc. So the first thing, as a consumer, we all have smartphones. Number one, look at the apps. If the apps is not something you're using, delete them right away. Why? Because you're leaving a digital trail behind. Number two, for the apps that you are using, go to the settings section and revoke any permission that looks unusual. For example, you have location services turned on for a gaming app. It doesn't make sense. Turn it off. Be brutal about it. What's the worst that could happen? The app stops working. Big deal. Go ahead and turn back the permission one at a time. It does take time and effort once, but the benefits are you are giving less and less of your data that otherwise is being siphoned off of you. So from a consumer's perspective, I think those are immediate actions. The third one, which I took the moment GDPR, or General Data Protection Regulation, went into effect, was exercise the rights. And what does that mean? Here's a link to LinkedIn. When you go and ask them to send to you every piece of information you've ever shared with LinkedIn, they will send it to you as part of GDPR. Why is this important? It raises awareness, like it did for me. I'm a pretty active LinkedIn user, as most of my followers know. But even I was shocked at the amount of digital exhaust I had left behind, just looking at what that comma-separated value file was sent to me, right? So those are for consumers. Now switching gears to enterprises. Really, the first thing is, it was a little bit of a shocker for me that in this IoT themed conference, the fact that there was a Senate bill passed in the California legislature, 327, was not something anybody knew in the audience. Now, for businesses, it's important to understand how legislation is being passed in a pretty progressive state like California. So take a look at 327. It does have some pretty far-reaching impacts as a business. More broadly, when you extract data from customers, use that to explain why. And Apple is a great example of this. Go look at their privacy policies right now. It's easy to understand. So they've taken a much forward-leaning view on how to explain to consumers why and the how behind the data extraction. Right? So as an enterprise, you will actually build trust with your end users if you use plain speak language and give them enough so that they feel that they're getting value for what you're extracting out of them. Right? So those are kind of some of the key takeaways. I hope that's of value to you as well, because clearly the questions from the audience seem to be along these two dimensions. More later. Ciao.